UAP are airborne objects that, when encountered, cannot be immediately identified. With regard to the importance of transparency, the Department is fully committed to the principle of openness and accountability to the American people.
We're going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Oh my gosh, dude.
U.S. Navy personnel recorded what appears to be triangles, some flashing. The video was taken through night vision goggles with a single lens reflex camera.
Well, I mean, it's a pretty high-profile incident. I don't claim to be an expert. You're the guys investigating it. I mean, who else is doing it?
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show. This is UFO We Want to Know. This is April 27th, 2024. Hope you're having a good evening. Before I begin, as I always do, this is dedicated to those who have been ridiculed, dragged through the mud, and made fun of by the media for the last 76 plus years. I have 2 videos and 16 photos to show you for the first segment. So let's go ahead with the first video. And what you're about to see is 3 different UFOs. And if you look to the upper right of the sun, you'll see from the cloud position, there's the UFOs that come out of this. Now, the significant thing about this particular UFO, these UFOs, is they do these maneuvers. And I want to concentrate today's show on maneuverability of a lot of these craft. You'll notice they're making these right-hand turns really quickly as they come out. There's actually about 5 of them, but we're going to concentrate on 3. They seem to be all over the cloud area. Now the major one that I did stop motion is the one that would be all the way to the left. And we're going to loop this a few times so you can actually see it again. This one is going up, and then you can see it coming down to the side to the left, right there. That's the one we're concentrating on, to the left. But as you can see, there are other UFOs flying around. They seem to be interacting just to the upper left of the sun. As the 2 meet, they seem to be interacting. Who knows how their communication works? But again, I want to say this. This is so important for today's show because I got a lot of literature on it, and that is that the maneuverability of these craft to do what they do is so incredible that they may not have a word for inertia like we do. In other words, you can be encapsulated and you can make these fantastic maneuvers, and inside the craft that we may be flying, a jet, and in our case, you're not all smashed up against the canopy. In some cases, there's been documentation that proves that if man was to accelerate so fast, his limbs would literally be torn apart. So I'm stressing this point for a reason. On a lot of the videos I have today, you're going to see them do some fantastic maneuvers. After this one, we'll go to the first photo. And that's the one we were concentrating on. Remember I said this is the one we're concentrating on, and this is the picture. Next photo. And that's what this object looked like when you take away the sun's brightness and you give it, you give the audience an idea what this object actually looked like. Remember, this is really far up there, but it's transversing our atmosphere. It's inside Earth's atmosphere. I stress that all the time because scientists claim that there's nothing there. Next photo. Just another one. Next photo. And as you can see, it starts to show more detail as we get closer in, and I remaster the video itself, the photo itself. Next photo. Closer up of it. And then the final photo. And this goes to show you, ladies and gentlemen, that there is an object up there. You saw it flying for yourself. You saw it transversing in our atmosphere. No doubt about it. No matter what the scientists say, these craft are here. They've been here and they're not going away. Let us know what you think these craft are at UFO We Want to Know at gmail.com. I appreciate all the information that is sent to me. I always write back to every individual who sends in a message or a thank you or whatever it may be. I always refer back to my show as something that's for the people, and I'm glad you're enjoying it. This just gives you, show you, ladies and gentlemen, that when you hear the government and NASA start talking about there's too much being said about UFOs when there's no real proof, this is real proof right here. So let's go to the next video. That's pretty simple. You got what looks like a jetliner, except we slowed this down quite a bit and blew it up. We slowed it down quite a bit. And I want you to take a look at this craft as it's going forward. You notice it's yawing, it's going up and down. Now when I take videos of jetliners real far away, I can see wings and the fuselage. Here I don't see that, but what I do see is it looks like it's like a dolphin in the water. It's going up and down, up and down. You can see it for yourself. Now we had to slow this down, and it was real far away, so this was traveling quite fast. Now people have told me, well, if it's got a chemtrail behind it, it has to be one of ours. Well, not necessarily. There's been a lot of videos that show things streaking across the sky, and they're not ours because they're going in the high Mach range. And if you're real high in the atmosphere, even in Earth's atmosphere, you can hit cold air, and that's what you see a lot of these jet aircraft when they're flying. That's what you're seeing. The jet exhaust, and it accumulates into ice crystals, and then they dissipate when the jet is far away. That's why you see them dissipate. But this could very well be a UFO flying at tremendous speed, so far away that it's leaving ice crystals, vapors, as it's going through our atmosphere. Now, I've said this 100 times, and I'll probably continue saying it. They don't touch our atmosphere, but if you have an object and it's still moving through our atmosphere, there's got to be something interfering with the atmosphere of our Earth being pushed aside, whether it's being pushed or sucked in. However, their propulsion system works, whether it's electromagnetic or maybe it's plasma drive, whatever it may be, it's still going to affect our Earth's visual, as far as visual is concerned. If you're looking up, you see something, it's going through the atmosphere, and it's going to either be separating or it's going to be sucking it in, or there may be another word for it that they use, not exactly human terms, but from what I gather, and I've been doing this for a long time, and when I see these craft, I try my best to remaster them very, very slowly. If you remaster something really quickly, you get distortion. You can get anything out there. But if you do it real slow, like say maybe 5 or 6 remasterings, you can identify a jet real far away. When sometimes you look and you say, well, that might be a UFO, and I can get to the 3rd or 4th remaster, and there they are, the wings all of a sudden show up. It's because of the fact that they're so far away that you're limited in what you're doing with a phone camera, and I recognize that. After this, we'll go to the first photo. And as you can see, that's what you were looking at. Look at the yaw on it. Now, when I did this, I took two pictures, 2 stop motion pictures. In the very beginning, I took one, and then at the end of the video, I took one. And at the end, I'm going to show you what these 2 craft, it's the same craft, but I want to show you the difference. Next photo. You see it? It looks like it's going upwards, like an upward yaw. Next photo. Very distinctive, isn't it? Next photo. And then the last photo of this one. Now, don't worry about remembering this picture, because I'm going to show you this one side by side by the next one. Now remember, this is the beginning of the video. I stop motioned it and then took a picture of this particular craft. Now clearly you can see that there's no wings on this. It's just a fuselage, elongated craft, if you will. If I took a jet liner real far away, I mean tiny, it wouldn't look like this. It would actually be wider than this. This is elongated. Okay, the wings don't disappear. It doesn't matter what position you're in. You're going to see a tail. If not the wings, you're going to see a tail. So let's go ahead to the next picture. There's the jet again, and this was at the end, as I said. Okay, next photo. And from there, you really can't see it, but it's already different. You remember the other one was yawning, it was going upwards? Well, now it's kind of leveled off. Next photo. This is what I'm getting. This is the same object that I took. It looks kind of shorter, doesn't it? Now, when I took it from a side position, it wasn't going away from me. It was just to the north of me, and so it wasn't like going away from me. Now, some critics are going to say, well, you can't really judge that. When something's going from side to side, I can judge it. I'm not that blind. And the last photo of this one, the blow up of it. This looks a lot different than the other one, doesn't it? It does look shorter, but I believe it's the atmospheric interference that's causing this to look like it's shorter, but it's not. It's the same craft. And then the last, and here's the comparison. Remember, the one on the left is the one that was in the first, and then the last is on the right. And you know, if you can just think about this for a minute. People say that these craft shape shift and all this other stuff. I don't know. I'm sure it's a great possibility. If they are shape shifting, then it's a technology we don't have. But I put these videos on there for you to make up your own mind and what you think. There's a lot of people who say that's quite interesting, but how are you going to prove it? There's no way I can prove it. We'll be back after this message.
Hi, I'm Joseph, the host and creator of UFO We Want to Know. Tune in every Saturday evening on KPVM Pahrump channel 25.1 from 7 p.m. You'll see never-before-viewed videos and photos taken by myself, all over the world.
Thank you for watching. UFO We Want to Know, and remember, yes, they are out there.
Thank you for staying with us. On the second segment here, I've got another 2 videos and 15 photos to show you. So, from the last segment, we were talking about how these craft maneuver. On this one here, I'm going to show you craft that are going so fast that on both these videos, we actually slowed the videos down 90% in order for you to catch these UFOs. There was, on the first one, there's going to be actually 3 UFOs. You couldn't see the very first one because it went through the sun's view so fast that we spent almost 20 minutes here in the studio trying to slow it down. So we went to the other 2, and those are the ones I've captured as a stop motion. So let's begin with the first video. That's the one you see right there on the left of the sun in the very beginning of the video. It was actually to the right when it started, but when the video starts, it's on the left side. That's how fast it went. And no matter how slow we slowed it down, the video would be 10 minutes long just to watch the whole video. So we have to do what we can do to let you see it. You're going to see a second one coming from right to left of the sun. It'd be on the bottom area. And then you're going to see one on the top. You see that? That thing was streaking so fast that we went from 30, 40, 50%, then we went finally to 90% just to capture it. There's one on the top, and I've got stop photos for both of these. So in the beginning again, you see the one on the left of the sun, and that one was too fast. As I said in just previously, I said I was not going to say Mach Mach 200 because I was getting a lot of flack for that. And people say, well, you really don't know. No, I don't know. But I do know this. These craft are in our atmosphere, and they are flying at fantastic speeds that we can't even fathom. And I don't care what jet pilot out there says that they're not going that fast. These craft are going fast because I've caught these craft near our jets, and our jets for the whole, if it's a 1 minute video, they move not even a millimeter, but on the or centimeter, I should say. But on the screen, the UFOs are moving just like you're seeing on the screen today. So they have to see some of my videos. Now, I've seen other videos similar to mine, but they don't slow them down, and you have to really stare at it for the viewer to see it. The television station, they'll slow it down for you, and they give you an idea, but a lot of people, they'll just put them on their YouTube channel, and they're zooming by, and you really can't see them. And there's some really good videos out there, and I appreciate them doing that because I'm not the only one, and I shouldn't be the only one. So we'll play this one more time, then we'll get to the photos. You'll see it on the left of the sun. Watch, it's a flash. Sometimes you have to be patient. Here it comes. Now, if you would have saw that in a regular time, it's just unbelievable how fast these craft are flying. That one there was going upwards, and I believe you can see it there. I believe the reason why it was giving that haze is because it was as it was traveling from, in this case here, it was from south to east, west to east, and it was going on an upward motion. And I believe that's why you have a lot of haze on the top of that. As we get closer, next photo, as we get closer, you'll see what I'm talking about. You see that haze on top? But this craft was a elongated craft, and maybe it's elongated because it was going so fast. I don't know. Next photo. Now, what I did was I darkened the background to try to get rid of the haze so maybe we can see what the craft looked like, and not having too much luck on it. Again, this is going from right to left, and if you were to see this photo, you would think it would be going left to right, the larger part on the right side, but it's not. It's going the other way. Next photo. It's a close-up of it. And ladies and gentlemen, you can only do so much with a phone camera. 200 megapixels, it's a great phone, great for photography. And I'm going to stay with this, keep doing it. I am playing around with my 4 and 5K video cameras, and I can't get what I get when I'm doing it with my phone. I'm sorry. Next photo. And then this is the other one, as you can see. It was more solid base. We were able to capture this one, as I said, at 90%. So it was probably going a lot slower than the one on top. And unfortunately, there was another one that was going from left to right, and that one was going so fast, we didn't even try and look at that one either. But as far as this one is concerned, this gives you a pretty good idea of what it looked like. As we go through them, you're going to actually see a little colorization from the craft itself. Next photo. And you're starting to see some dark color around it. Next photo. You see that dark in the bottom and the top? Well, that's considered cold air, according to our scientists. Center indicating density, the light you see. Now some people have said, well, couldn't it be that the craft is all dark and that white flash is giving off the electromagnetic charge? Absolutely. but since I don't have a telescope on it, I really can't see. And if I was to put a times 40 magnifier on it, I get a better idea. But this thing was going by so fast, it was even tiresome for me to do it. And I tried for many hours. And the last photo, as I was talking about colorization, it started to get a little density inside. Whether or not that's part of the craft or maybe it's just the pixels, who knows? But I try to give you the best pictures I possibly can. Now remember, this was going from right to left. And if you saw this for the first time, didn't see anything else, you would think it was going from left to right. You see the solidness around the right side of it. And then on the left, where it was actually hitting, going forward, it looks distorted. That might be the fact that it was going forward, and whether it's sucking in or pushing out, it could be that's why the distortion. But think about it for a minute. You would think this is going from left to right, but it's not. All right, let's go to the next video. Now this one here, my director was very patient. It took us a long time to get this one. We had to zoom in. You can't see it, but on the very top of this video, there is a jet coming downward. It looks like it's coming downwards. Of course, it's not. It's going across the sky. But this craft here, you can see it's leaving little trails behind it. It was going so fast. This was also slowed down by 90%. He couldn't find it. And I had to literally show him on my phone, and I had to stop it where it first came out. But we finally got it. It's zeroed in quite a bit. Now that craft goes even further than that. But for your sake, we wanted to show you the actual craft going through the atmosphere. And it was well behind that telephone pole on the lower right. And you look at the regular video of it, it was behind it pretty far. So we know this is not an insect. If it is, it's an insect going very fast and leaving entrails there. But this is so interesting because on the whole video, it went from right to left in 1 second. That's how fast it was going. And the jet on top of the clouds there, which you can't see, I'll show you a picture of it in a minute. That jet didn't even move for the whole time of the videotaping, and the videotaping was about 1.5 minutes, and we cut it as far as time because we would be sitting here waiting for that to come, this UFO to come out into view. So we just cut it and giving you just the part where the UFO comes out. So we'll do it one more time, and then we'll go ahead and go to the pictures. Just take a look at that. That's incredible. And it starts to leave little entrails right there, right? Again. That's so incredible. Okay, we'll go to the first photo, and there it is. That's what you were looking at. And of course, we don't know what this object, where it came from, how fast it was going. I'm looking into getting some kind of equipment where maybe I can find out how fast, at least get some kind of a clue to how fast it could possibly be going. And I'll bring that to you in upcoming videos if I can get that kind of equipment. Next photo. Now you're going to notice this particular object has a lot of material, different types of, I don't know, I'm not going to say writing, but around it, it's being encircled for some reason. I've taken videos similar to this before, but I wanted to point that out. Next photo. Quite interesting photo, isn't it? Next photo. That's the last of what we're going to see there. And I want to go to the next photo to show you what the jet, how far up it was. And you can see on the bottom of the UFO, the jet on top. And the last photo. Close-up of it. give you an idea, they were both in the same video. Same video, ladies and gentlemen. So when they tell you, when the government tells you there's nothing to see, there's a nothing burger, tell them you saw a nothing burger flying in our atmosphere, because it's proof positive. I show you these every week. I find these all the time, and that's why I tell people, I believe I've seen more UFOs than any other man, woman alive, and I prove it on my show every week. I would like to hear your thoughts at UFOWeWantToKnow@gmail.com. We'll be back after this message. Thank you for staying with us. And remember, in the very first segment, I said we're going to concentrate on UFOs and the speeds and maneuverability, and also the fact that these craft are going incredibly fast. Well, we only have one video and we have 26 photos of the same UFO, but I want to make a point here, and I think the point is very important. Like the previous one, I'm going to show you, the first segment, I showed you a UFO going through the atmosphere, and I took a stop motion in the beginning and then the end of the video. But I want you to understand something. When I do this for a reason. I do this to make a point. And that point is that whether they're shape-shifting or not, whether they're going so fast that they actually change the metals or whatever they're using for these craft, I personally believe these craft are biological. I don't believe that they built them. I believe they grow them. That's my personal belief. But there are a lot of scientists out there who believe the same thing. But I'm not a scientist, and I want to make that very clear to you. But I've read a lot of literature on it, and it makes a lot of sense. So let's go to the first video, and let me explain to you as we're going through it. As you can see, this one is coming down. We slowed this down another 90%. It was just a streak. We'll go ahead and play this maybe 2-3 times. You can see it, and then we'll go to the photos. Look at this coming through our atmosphere. Now, this wasn't going down. It was heading, this particular one was heading northeast. I guess you can say towards Area 51 from Pahrump, Nevada. But just take a look at this. This craft was really moving. This is a UFO, ladies and gentlemen. Now, there was a couple of other UFOs in this video, but we cut them out primarily because the fact that when you're trying to concentrate on something, you don't want to go to the others because it takes away from it. So let's go to the first photo after this. And I got it circled, of course. Now, you're going to see 4 of these circled ones, and that's where I stopped the stop motion to take the photo of the object as it was traveling. Next photo. Now, if you take a look at it, it gives you a little detail already, doesn't it? Now, that's not the nose facing down at the very tip on the bottom. That's just the view of where the camera captured this object. Remember, this object was going really fast. How fast? I don't know. But it was going really quick because we had to slow it down. Now, it was taken in slow motion, and this was taken only 6 days ago. It was taken in slow motion, and we slowed it down another 90%. So you can imagine how fast it was going. Next photo. It's a back view of it. Next photo. Next photo. The reason why I did this is because I wanted to get the background a little darker to maybe give you a better image of it. And that's about the next photo is going to show you about the best I could do. There seems to be a center nucleus in it, and then it's clouded all the way around. Whether or not that's true or not, again, I don't know. I wasn't up there. I can only do what I can do with what I have, but I think that I give you a pretty good idea of what you're looking at here. This is a UFO, ladies and gentlemen. Make no mistake about it. This is not a paper bag flying in the wind. Next photo. Here's the second one you're seeing circled, going through the clouds. Excuse me, the rays of the sun. Next photo. It's already changing from the first one, isn't it? Next photo. And you kind of wonder how fast these craft are flying, and it doesn't affect the occupants. Next photo. A little blow up of it, starting to show a little colorization in it. That's not an exhaust in the back by any means. It's not an exhaust. And the last of this one. So think about it for a minute. Now remember, you don't have to memorize the photos. I'm going to show you what all 4 of these different stop motions look like. But this one here, you can see there's dark area all around it. Is it emitting electromagnetic charge? Is it cool air? Who knows? Next photo. Here's the third one. And again, as it progresses away from the sun, you're going to see a change in this UFO. You will see a change. I can guarantee it because I'm the actual one that took the photo. Next photo. Now this one here, you can actually see it leaving little streak marks. I believe you can see maybe 2, there might possibly be 3, but I can see 2 myself. But it is leaving entrails because it was going so fast. As it leaves the aurora of the sun and it goes into the darker area, which is of course the sky, it starts to leave these entrails. I call them entrails, not chemtrails, obviously. And on the next picture here, you're going to see I left a streak in there for you to see it. There's not 2 UFOs in here, there's just 1. But it's going so fast. Remember, the setting of the camera can only pick up so much. And it's going to do that because it looks like it's looping or it looks like it's skipping, and it's not. It's just the camera can't keep up with it. Just like a rotor blade you see around a helicopter, if you have a certain setting, the rotor blades look like they're not even moving. They're standing still. Same thing here. But in this one here, we got stop motion on it, and we have a picture of it. Next photo. It's a little bit closer. And let's go to the last one. And it's just of the UFO itself. Again, this one changed not only its shape, but its color. Now, some people may say, well, you darken the sky back there. The sky, when you change the background, I can go back and without changing it, I'll still get the same picture. I can leave it the way it was, and the picture will come out the same. And if I darken the background, the picture will stay the same. So I've looked at both avenues, and so I stay with what I do. And if it does affect it, I'm not a professional photographer by any means. I'm only assuming. But I have talked to quite a few photographers about what I do, and they said, no, what you're doing is okay. It's not so much that if there's an argument, it's not worth arguing about. Next one. And this is the final one. Look how far down it is from the top. Remember, the top one was first, second, third, and this is the fourth. Gives you an idea of how detailed I try to get these pictures to show you and to understand what I'm doing. Next photo. We're going to come in on this one a little bit quicker. The next photo. Now it starts to give you a even different shape than the previous one. The previous one still had the elongated shape, but this one here seems to be shrinking, doesn't it? And was it going further away from me? No, because it was the way it was heading, the way my position was in Pahrump. I'm in a lateral position to take a video and a photo of this. Next photo. Close up of it. And what I didn't do is I didn't want to change. I didn't want to remaster it too much, and the reason why is because as I was getting closer to this last image here, I noticed that it started to leave a back end. It looks like it's going up, but it's not. It's coming down. In some cases, the large area is the one that's actually going forward. In this case here, the thin part is going forward. So I thought that was kind of odd because last week I pointed that out in 2 of the videos. The larger part of the UFO was going forward. And it just seemed to me that you would think it'd be the other way around. But again, they don't use aerodynamics in our atmosphere by any means at all. Let's go to the next photo. And this I started to notice a little bit of a light, kind of like a light dot or something on the top. You know, could have been something coming out of the craft. I have no idea, but I started to get that out there, and I wanted to take this particular photo, which I did in my office, and I made it larger and larger and larger. I'm not going to show it, but I made it larger to see if that white piece of object or whatever it was that was on there, if it stayed there, but it did not. It kind of went away. It kind of blurred away, I should say. But whatever it was, I captured it on 3 of the photos out of the 5. Next photo. You can see it up there. It's starting to dissipate already. That was at the near the end of the photo up there on the top. But it seemed to be a little hazy. In some cases, I can sharpen the photo up, but by sharpening it up, you get kind of a colorization that you really don't want to show, because it's kind of like manipulating a picture, Photoshop, and I don't want to do that. I want to give you a true picture as I can, at least as much as I can. Next photo. And this is the last that you're going to see of that. Again, the white dot on the near the back, upper back, that did eventually go away. It may have been just the pixelization of the camera that made it do that. I'm really not sure. But isn't that interesting that you can take pictures of one vehicle traveling that fast, and this is what you get. The next photo. Okay, those are all of them right there. You saw them. This is the same UFO. It's the same UFO. And yet you get 4 different looking pictures. So how does that happen? Now, if we had a jet flying over, say a fighter jet, would it leave that kind of distortion as far as the pictures are concerned? I don't know. I'm going to probably try that out. There are some air shows that you can go to, and you can videotape them, and I might just do that just out of curiosity, and I can bring those results to you. I got to find out where the nearest air show, I guess it would be in Vegas somewhere. I used to go to the ones in Arizona and California and Texas. That was years ago, but I'm going to look and see what I can find, and maybe I can bring something to you that's quite interesting there, and maybe I can find a UFO in the pictures while I'm videotaping out there also. That has happened before. We'll be back after this message with the last segment. Hope you stay with me. Thank you for staying with for the final segment. Ladies and gentlemen, I did a little bit something a little bit different on the end of the last segment, and I want you to understand that when I talk negatively about either the government or NASA or SETI or whatever, it's because I get so much information from them. I download them, and some of them comes to my phone, and I read everything that NASA newsletter sends me, and everything that SETI and the government and their cooperation as far as what is out there, what they're looking at, and how they're showing in detail transparency. So you make up your mind yourself on this. So let's go to the first photo I want you to put up there, and we're questioning this for a good reason. I'm a PhD, okay? Now we all know what a PhD is, and we know that they, and for those of you who don't, they specialize in some type of science, and there's a lot of science, and I don't want to go through it because I'll be here all day. But the science is clear for some of these PhDs, and NASA's UFO study isn't really looking for space aliens. And I believe that's a correct statement right there. I really do. If you look at what NASA looks at, and believe me, they're spending a lot of money looking at the sun, looking at our moon, looking at the compositions of these celestial objects, but at the same time, they sometimes don't give you all the information. That's my personal belief. And I was looking at this particular astrophysicist from BU, and that's Boston University, who's joining NASA's team to study UFOs. Over the next 9 months, Joshua Cementi will study footage of unidentified flying objects to help figure out their origins. Really, their origins, okay. NASA's UFO study isn't really looking for space aliens. I have to agree with that. I just have to agree with that. They can show us different, maybe planets, far off planets. They can show us nebula. They can show us the sun. That's all great, but there's a point to it that I'm going to get about looking at the sun. But I want to get through some of these readings here. The truth is out there, but for now, it doesn't involve extraterrestrial visitors. It could, however, be a foreign power's technology. Now, that's a true government and NASA statement, because that's all they can do is put that on foreign governments. When we know good and well that if foreign governments have the technology that I've been showing you on this show, UFO We Want to Know, if this is foreign technology, then we're in a lot of trouble, because as far as I'm concerned, our jets are not going to be able to compete with what you're seeing on the screens that I put on every week. Now, on the as far as what I'm going to read you next, these are not my words. These are from people who saw the same videos that I was watching. The same videos that I was watching. And I'm going to give you their comments. Okay, and I wrote down here, just so the viewers don't think that it's just me commenting on the scientists. Here are other people's viewpoints. Now, this was a physicist talking, and then you had the astrophysicist talking. They agree and disagree in so many areas. Here's the first one. The more they learn about UFOs, the stupider they sound. Now, I think that's very telling, in my opinion. Next one, he says that aliens would be limited by the laws of physics. Then in the same breath says that we don't know everything about the laws of physics. How's that for a statement? Now, in their world, maybe the astrophysicists and physicists, maybe they enjoy that way of talking. But for the layman, and that includes myself, as I said, I'm not a scientist, even though I was an analyst for 25 years. I'm not in any way, shape, or form trying to say that I'm a scientist and I know better. I've been doing this for almost 40 years. I've been studying objects. I've been studying celestial objects, and whether it be comets, asteroids. I've been looking at this for almost 40 years now. Next one is, this guy must have never heard any of the pilot's description on what they saw, never seen the footage, and ignoring the fact that multiple sensors captured objects in freaking flight. I'm glad to use the word freaking. Those are his words, and that's true. It's very true when you think about it, because these people sound like me. So I guess there's a lot of me's out there, and I'm not the only one. Next one, he doesn't know what he's talking about. They said there were examples of physical objects, not weather phenomena. And in that sentence, what the physicist was saying, he kept saying, was, well, that could be atmospheric, an anomaly right there, or that could be this or that. He kept going back to the weather. I think he should have became a weatherman, because he seemed to like that. But even though he was seeing proof positive of the object that we're going to be questioning right now, it's plain to see that these guys are just spinning the wheels. Next one, he talks about how fast. How does a machine make a 90-degree turn while traveling at 10,000 miles per hour? Okay, I don't know how they judge the 10,000 miles an hour. And he asks, explain the science. Now, if he was going 10,000 miles an hour, that's frankly basically Mach 13.13, which equals 9 9994.649 miles per hour. Not quite 10,000, but really, really close. Now, if you were to understand what he's talking about here, making a 90 degree, even a 90 degree right or left is incredible. And if you're going to question the speed of these UFOs, it's the people who have these degrees that look at celestial objects that say, well, they can do that because they're in the vacuum of space. Well, they're not in the vacuum of space here. They're in our atmosphere. The turn radius of a SR-7, just to give you an example, the turn radius of an SR-71 Blackbird would depend on its speed, but the faster it went, the wider its turn radius would be. Now, that's a true statement because I've watched probably all the SR-71 videos out there, and there are a lot of them, but I've watched probably all of them. And I've listened to the questions of the pilots themselves and the tremendous speed indicators, what they said and how they were traversing through the atmosphere. And they were so incredible that I kept telling myself, hey, these craft are essentially going so fast and making these turns that they have to be using some kind of inertia that we know nothing about. So if an SR-71 Blackbird had a minimum turning radius and altitude of about 80 nautical miles, why are these craft that we're looking at making these turns right there in front of you? When it takes 80 nautical miles for an SR-71 Blackbird to make a full turn. That's a full turn. These are making loops all the time in the videos that I'm showing you. I understand this man is an astrophysicist, and I respect his expertise. However, he doesn't know what the heck he's talking about in regards to UFOs, and it shows it. Now, this gives you an idea, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I'm going to say this again. These are not my words. These are words from people who are talking about these physicists and astrophysicists. Now, getting to the very last photo here that we're showing you. This was taken some years ago, and you can download this yourself. This is an Earth-size planet object, rather, Earth-size object that's the size of Earth. This is what scientists said. This is about the size of the Earth. The one on the top is the sun, and it was siphoning off the sun, whether it be plasma, helium, whatever it may be, it was siphoning out like a gas station. Now, for them to get that close to the sun, what material are they using? Now, here's the funny part. We're going to keep that picture up until the end here. But the scientists were claiming that it was like the Death Star. Okay, you've seen the movie. I haven't. I don't really care to watch those kinds of movies because to me they're boring. But they kind of give you an indication that it was like the Death Star, the size of Jupiter, and they had a colossal nozzle that was attached to it, and when they attach to it, they would zoom away. But the Death Star is thinking that's so idiotic in the way they're thinking. Now, here's the Pentagon. When this was coming to a conclusion, the Pentagon wrote, there's no evidence of alien visits, hidden aircraft, claims about secret government programs, reverse engineering, extraterrestrial technology are based on circular reporting and hearsay. Investigators found. The chief at SETI says, U.S. has no evidence for alien technology and we never have. The idea that the government is keeping something like this secret is just totally absurd. There is no motivation to do so. Ladies and gentlemen, this was written 7 days ago. This was written on April 17, 2024. That's SETI. These are the organizations that we give money to every year. And they're still saying that there is nothing to see here. I read this one here. This is 7 days ago that they wrote from this date. And for them to say that, that gives you an indication that they're not serious. So when next time they're in Congress and they're asking for billions of dollars, voice your opinion. Talk to your representatives. Tell them, hey, there's nothing out there, so don't give them any money because they're saying there's nothing out there and they can't find anything. And it's going to take another 25 years for them to say, well, we think we're going to find something within the next 5 years. They said that 25 years ago. They said that 20 years ago. They said it 15 years ago. I can go on and on and on. Every time they say that, they make themselves look so stupid. I'm going to cool off, but I'll hope to see you next week. Thank you for joining me.